Great town hall last night, and we do want to spend a little bit of time debriefing on it. I would love to hear your feedback on some things that you thought went well, things that we could improve for the next time around, because that was only our first run at it. That's our practice run, and we fully intend to do it again in April.
The senators made some very good points.
Yes, they did. Yes, largely through their absence. Yes. And we will definitely be turning up the heat on them for April. After that, Nicole is going to actually be running a fair bit of the meeting. We've been kind of conferring together on a number of really important points and things that I think you will find worthwhile and helpful to the
Hi,
point.
this is about Sierra Club March that is in the process of being organized.
Sorry, it's made for Asians.
It's just put on your calendar now. It's a ways out in the distance, but it's April 29th, which is a Saturday. I understand the Thursday of the week before is Earth Day. The Sierra Club did this on Saturday, I think, to get people who have to work during the week could also participate. They're trying to make this march, it's going to be worldwide, and hopefully it's even half as big as the Women's March, but we'll be hopefully seeing a lot more about it as we get closer to April 29th. So 29th is, yes sir?
The Earth Day is also the March for Science.
Yes.
Earth Day is also the March for Science, he
Right,
said.
and
in case you
that's,
didn't hear
on,
that.
on Thursday the 25th, is that right?
22nd.
Sounds good.
Hi, my name is Richard Saunders, and I'm in Lake Forest Park. I wanted to let the group know that Indivisible community members have been working on a resolution for the Lake Forest Park City Council to pass. Last Thursday, a bunch of Indivisible. You know, I've said it all day correctly. So a bunch of members showed up. The protesters showed up last Thursday night. The council's working with the Indivisible group on a resolution on March 9th. Please show up if you are a Lake Forest Park citizen or property or business owner and support the resolution. It's going to pass, but we want a big support.
Some of you may already know this, but for those of you who don't, every Tuesday there is a rally at the Federal Building at 11 o'clock put on by Indivisible Seattle. And because there have been so many phone calls and people showing up, from 11:30 to 1 inside the Federal Building, the staffers from both Murray and Cantwell's offices are meeting with people. Last Tuesday, Murray was around, and so she came and spoke also, and that's where you can make what you want known and ask them questions.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Jeff, visiting from Seattle, but ACLU is doing People Power, which is basic resistance training. They're live streaming it on March 11th at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so it's at 2 o'clock. You just have to register through their website, and they'll send you the information so that you can live stream it to your phone or your computer, whichever you prefer.
What's the website? Which website?
It's the ACLU.org.
And what's the date?
March 11th. Yep.
So are we doing that here as a group, or should we be doing that?
It's just individually. If you want to organize with friends and stuff, go for it. But I wasn't planning on setting up any sort of event. Just you can log on online wherever.
I did that, and they said that we needed to train to host. So I was wondering what the hosting meant.
Oh, they might be setting up places where you can go with other activists. I haven't actually looked too much into it. Just wanted to put it on people's radar.
Hi, I'm Miriam. There was an announcement about Lake Forest Park sanctuary resolution. We were also working on one for Kenmore, so if there's anybody from Kenmore, tomorrow night there's a meeting at 7:30. They are going to be working on the language for sanctuary city. We really need people to come and make statements to show that Kenmore wants to be a sanctuary city. Thank you.
I would love to hear any feedback that you have on things that you thought worked particularly well, things that you thought we could probably improve on for next time around, so that I can write them down for us and for the team.
I wasn't there, but I was live streaming about half of it, and just FYI, it was pretty hard to understand what people were saying on the live stream, and also just FYI, it looked like generally there was about 30 people actively listening in at any one time.
Good. That's very valuable feedback. Thank you. Others?
And of course, the live stream was on a phone.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, and yes,
Well, my friend went that she can't come here, and so she didn't realize how energized everyone was. And she felt really good afterwards to see all the energy. So the fact that the senators weren't there was just fine because it was such a great crowd. So
Awesome.
that's it. Yeah.
I was there last night. I thought everything was great and that it ran smoothly. My only disappointment, besides, the senators not attending or their staffers, was to
Yes.
see that it was disproportionately white and was not representative of the city in terms of population. What can we do to address that issue?
That's a great question, and we did actually talk about that a little bit. And when I say we, I mean my wife and I in the car on the way home. My short answer to that was we just keep doing what we're doing, what we do because it's the right thing to do, and know that the things that we're talking about are definitely related to communities of color and marginalized communities. And I think we will get to that point where they're there. And maybe next time we host the event, maybe we'll host it in their neighborhood rather than our neighborhood.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I thought there were at least 4 or 5 really exceptional things last night. One of them was the panel, which is amazing that you pulled that all together in
A day.
you blow my mind. Not only was there a panel, but they were people who actually knew the material and shared a lot of things that I didn't already know, even though we've been working hard to find out as much as we can. The second thing was that the people who came up and spoke on the microphone were really terrified in part, but they had the courage to do it because the crowd was so big and so positive. And that when we came in the room into the entry, we had the cards of agree, disagree, and it automatically made it a was like nobody was going to be screaming and jumping up and down and doing things that would seem violent. And in addition to that, I thought it was excellent to have the piece of paper that we could write our questions on and to encourage us to ask for an April town hall meeting in which they would actually appear. And the fifth thing for me was that not only was the panel there, but Jonathan kept asking people or inviting people to come up and actually speak their stories. And the stories were very powerful. The stories will stay with me for a very long time. And my hope is that that video will then go to our representatives and be shared with them so that they get what they didn't get last night. Also, I wrote to them as soon as I got home. We were there. Where were you?
I thought it was a great meeting, and a couple of things that I saw weren't there that might be something to look at is that I was thinking if there was a big banner in the front that would say something like Indivisible, so everyone who had never been with us and it might say indivisible.com or the website, or so they'd get that, and then some kind of handout for Indivisibles or sign-up sheets that might have been, I didn't see them, so I thought that would be a good addition.
Both great ideas. For the record, we did have a small flyer for Indivisible that was this big that we encouraged everyone to pick up as they came in.
I'll just add, I later thought, wouldn't it be great to have like a run out posters?
Yes.
I'd be happy to contribute. I'm sure we would all
You
contribute
bet.
to.
I believe that's something that's on Nicole's agenda to talk about today. But your banner is an awesome idea. Did not think of that, and that would be a huge thing to have on the cameras for sure. Yeah.
We are taking donations for that banner.
Excellent. For the record, before I forget, Alex, the Seattle Indivisible organizer who helped put that together, he basically paid the $600 out of his own pocket to rent the venue. And our use of the facility here today is costing us $120. So at some point later on today, we'll pass the can around. and just ask you to contribute whatever you see fit to help out with both of those expenses.
We also have a credit card reader.
And we have a credit card reader. Yeah. Louis, can you raise your hand? Yeah.
It's over here in the corner.
Louis is one of our lead organizers for this group. Nicole is one of our lead organizers for this group. And both of them are like way more web savvy than I am. So yes, feel free to use that. I see 2 hands. Yeah.
Clarification?
Yes.
Do you have a 501c3?
We do not.
You do not?
We do not. So it's not tax deductible. No, this is a very politically active organization. So Indivisible National is working on getting 501c4 status, which makes them a nonprofit organization, but you still couldn't deduct taxes for contributions. Yeah.
When you're putting out your flyers and notifications of meetings, it would be nice if you gave some information on handicap parking and accessibility, where you go to get into the building.
Thank you. Did not think of that. Yes.
Hi. Kind of piggybacking on your comment. Come up to the mic.
Yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be great.
All right, so kind of piggybacking on your point about accessibility, I personally enjoyed the venue last night, but I think one thing that maybe for future things is that you should, I would suggest maybe having a ASL interpreter there for
Yes.
our, I think it would maybe make it more accessible to the community.
ASL interpreter. Thank you. We did actually look into that. There was one person who asked about that on the event page. I responded to it and I invited that person to get in contact with me to work it out. To my knowledge, that person didn't follow up. But I did put the all call out to this group and I had several people respond. And it was a little bit too hard to pull it together in short notice, but it's definitely on our radar to do it next time around. Yeah, thanks for asking. Anybody else? Yeah.
I'm here from Mercer Island, and we've just started a group, so my husband and I came to see.
Closer. Yeah, closer to
Oh, I'm here from Mercer Island, and my husband and I came to this meeting to find out how you guys do it, because our group is very small. And so I was wondering how things are coordinated between other groups. You know, I mean, there's the North Seattle, and then there's us and other groups. So how are activities coordinated?
If you can get me your contact information, I set up an Indivisible networking team, which has about 20 different organizers from 20 different Indivisible groups. And we have our own little Facebook page where we kind of contact and network with each other. And so any group is welcome to be part of that. So if you can let me know. Is anybody else here connected to a different Indivisible group from elsewhere? I see a hand up in the back. Can you shout out where you're from?
Well,
Go ahead. I was asking you.
the Shoreline snack, it's called Snack.
Yes.
And I've been to 2 meetings, but something I'm curious about is that they could not decide at the last meeting whether or not they would be okay as a group committing acts
Of violence. And there was discussion about the definition of violence, which was a very respectful conversation, but because people are saying that the definition that was being discussed about violence was defined by white privilege. And as a white person, I am Jewish, but also white, I felt uncomfortable. I'm come from a nonviolent demonstrator background myself. And I would like to know, I'm not sure that this is the proper forum for this, but I feel a little bit more comfortable in a group that is committed to nonviolence.
Yes.
So I'd like to hear a discussion about that, and I don't know if I really am going back to that group because of that. I think that there's a bright line between, there's systemic violence in this world, in our country. There's a bright line between that and overt intentional acts of violence, so.
Sounds good. Thank you. I don't think this is the right time and place to start that conversation because I'm pretty sure that would be a longer than 2-minute conversation. Yeah. But speaking for myself, and I'm pretty sure for Indivisible, we are committed to nonviolence. I would never raise your hand if you would agree with that. Yeah, and we can have a whole nother discussion some other time about the definition of nonviolence, but I sure as hell wouldn't be part of any group that was not willing to commit to nonviolent resistance. Not a chance. Yes, ma'am, in fact.
Can I just ask a question?
Actually, before we start going off into different directions, this was still supposed to be about feedback on the town.
Right.
Is this about the town hall?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, I'm Janet from Shoreline here, and it was a great event. I was really impressed. I was wondering, did anyone notice whether we had any media coverage? I never heard whether there was. Could you tell us, give us a rundown of what?
Q13 was there. I did actually, we were at the bar afterwards and we got to see their coverage of our event afterwards. So they did stay the whole time. And actually, I'll tell you a funny story. Alex, the Seattle Indivisible guy, said that some of our folks were in the women's bathroom at some point during the evening, and they overheard somebody in the stall say, "Wow, this is like one of the best, most organized, most well put together political events she's ever been to." Well, that's not the funny part. The funny part is after the toilet flushed and she came out, it was the Q13 lady. This is pretty cool. Yeah. So that won best story for the night, and that person got a free drink. Suffice it to say, the coverage actually was pretty minimal. They were focusing on the Reichert event, and the only video that we got of our thing was like maybe 2 or 3 people on the mic sharing their stories and a bit about the crowd shots. They didn't get the mic check. They didn't even have any video of like a mass number of people holding up agree-disagree signs.
Yeah,
So
I was splitting the sound feed with Channel 5, so I know they were there.
Yeah. Oh, Channel 5, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I know Seattle Weekly was there. There was a reporter who introduced himself to me before, but we didn't chat. I don't know, does anybody know of any other media coverage that was there?
I just saw something in the Seattle Times, but it was about, I think it was Saturday. They're saying it was going to be happening. So
Okay. So she said to us she saw something in Seattle Times, but it was like Saturday announcing the event, not coverage of it. Yeah. One of our main purposes for doing this was really just kind of get our brand name out, since like probably less than 5% of the country even knows what Indivisible was. As much about having a town hall event for our senators, it was really about kind of us making our presence known, flexing our muscles, doing a little bit of growing and seeing what we were capable of doing as an organization. And I think we got off to a really good start. Yeah.
Can I just follow up?
Of course.
Yeah. So, I just think that, the amount of just excitement and interest that we're getting. This is the 5th meeting in a row with, over 100 people, or actually the 6th counting last night. I don't know how many people were there. It seems like, just from a PR point of view, it's like whoever we is, who's the organizer, it would be great if we could really, kind of do some press releases, do some promotion about how great we're doing. Because see, then that will could feed on itself. I'm just talking about this from kind of a political standpoint. It's just,
you bet.
It's a really huge big deal that you have this many people showing up over and over and over. I mean, it's really impressive. And so I think you just need to take it to the bank. And you can raise money on this. You can create this mass movement that you desire. But you have to really, cash in on
you bet.
Keep promoting it.
I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and let me be the first to say I'm surprised to see more than 20 people in the room. I really didn't expect to see this many people here today.
Pick up our paychecks.
Keep calling George Soros. He won't return my calls. Go ahead.
I wasn't at the meeting last night, but to someone's comment over here about diversity, and I maybe should have said this in the announcement section, but there is a Black Lives Matter March for Freedom on March 4th. And I know that if we show up for them, they'll show up for us. And I think it's a way to help each other in the movement. We have so many common goals, and it seems to me that we could show up there, whether we identify ourselves as Indivisible members or not. So.
Agreed.
Hi. Hi. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nicole. I am your social media admin. I run the Twitter account and I moderate the Facebook page. I was going to go to upcoming events at the end of my little spiel, but since that's the topic we're on right now, I'll go ahead and go there. We do have a calendar on our website. It is indivisiblenorthseattle.org. I have some papers that I'll pass around that has a whole bunch of helpful links on it. But all of these events that we're talking about are already on the calendar. So just go to the calendar. They're also on the Facebook as well. So upcoming events that we have just this week only. February 27th, Elevating Immigrant Voices in Sanctuary City. This is a panel question and answer. Kenmore City Council meeting, February 27th, and it is 7 p.m. I just looked it up. March 1st, Trump-approved Seattle rally at City Hall. March 1st, also in the evening, intersectionality talk, environmental issues, hosted by the NAACP and Climate Justice. March 2nd, annual candlelight vigil for domestic violence awareness. March 4th, Black Lives Matter rally in March. March 5th, benefit for Standing Rock. Now, I know I can't get to you very fast, but like I said, all of this is on the calendar and it's all on the website.
Thank you.
Okay, social media update. Our Facebook group has passed 1,300 members. We gained 300 members this week. We had a live stream of our town hall on Facebook. We got 1,500 views and 44 shares via Facebook. Our Twitter feed now has 475 followers. We gained 175 this week.
That's amazing.
Our website, indivisiblenorthseattle.org, is completely live. We had 860 website hits this week from 377 different people. Our Action Network page is up to 360 members. We gained 160 this week. And using Action Network, we completed 280 calls to action. Alrighty, so for those of you who are not social media savvy, you may want to tune out for a minute, but we did get our very first Facebook troll. Gentleman from Utah was coming and making some negative comments. So as a group, I just wanted to take a real quick show of hands as to how we should deal with this. The common consensus is the don't feed the troll theory, which is obviously you just ignore him. Now, with 1,300 people on the Facebook group, it is hard to get 1,300 people to do anything. It's like herding cats. So my personal opinion is that a lot of these people can be talked to and can be reasonably spoken with. In fact, this gentleman, the Facebook troll that we had, I'm currently talking with him by a private message, and he actually seems like a quasi-reasonable person. With that said, if this person is disruptive, rude, insulting, etc., at that point, we would want to just ignore him. The way that the Facebook group is set up right now, moderators do not have the ability to just kick people out and just ban them. So we'll have to have a little tech chat and discuss the Facebook group later among admins. Action Network. Who here does not know what Action Network is? Alrighty. So actionnetwork.org is the website that we are using to control and keep all of our calls to action in one place. It's a website that allows us to give you guys scripts. You can easily send emails to your representatives and petitions, things like that. You can also do, there's a general fund donation. So the Action Network is the tool that we're using to ensure that these calls to action are not getting buried in the Facebook. So I'll go ahead and just start passing this around real quick. So I only have 25 copies of this. All of these links are available on our Facebook page, so if you're already on the Facebook page and you're tech savvy and don't take one, if you can share with somebody, share please, because there's only 25. Anyway, if you go to our main website, indivisiblenorthseattle.org, you'll find most of those links on there as well. The Action Network, if you're not already on it, you're going to want to be. Once you sign up for Action Network, you'll get 2 emails a month, or a week, 2 emails a week. Yes, Lois?
If you go to the main website, you can also put in your name and email to sign up to Action Network.
If you go to the main website, indivisiblenorthseattle.org, you can just sign up for Action Network right then and there. We have recently found out that Indivisible groups have sprouted up in Reddit, Meetup, and LinkedIn. We need volunteers to be a liaison to these platforms. So if anybody is tech savvy and would like to do that, please speak with me. We're also looking for volunteers for Tumblr, Snapchat, and Instagram. So once again, talk to me. Additional calls for volunteers. We will have need of people with certain skills. We need artists to help with protest signs. We need graphic designers to help with banners and flyers. Anyone with experience in public speaking and or media relations who can serve as a media liaison would be very helpful. Photographers and those with video and YouTube experience can help combat propaganda and spread truth. Writers are needed to help with blog posts and letters to the editors. So please speak with myself, Lewis, or Jonathan if you'd like to volunteer for that. Okay, question for the group. We have observed an interest in merchandise such as buttons, t-shirts, and yard signs. As a group, do we want to design and have our own t-shirt, buttons, etc.? We can use the profits in a general fund to do things like postage stamps, printing, email server, etc. Show of hands, all in favor? Show of hands opposed? All right, so now we need volunteers to help us with t-shirts, buttons, other merchandise. So if that's something that you're into, yeah. You volunteering? Sweet! Find me after the meeting. Call me, we'll do lunch. Okay, are you good? Coming up our breakout groups. I think that's pretty much it. You got anything, Jonathan?
No.
So should we start going to groups?
There's a question.
Question where? Hello.
What are you going to do about the space? I mean, there's not a...
Meeting space?
Oh, yeah. Do you have another plan B for bigger space? No plan B.
It's been an ongoing challenge for us because as much as possible, we would like to meet in the same place at the same time, week after week. I'm sorry?
Repeat the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. She was asking me, what about meeting space for our Sunday meetings, since it seems to keep changing from week to week. And yes, our ideal situation would be able to meet at the same place at the same time every week. We've kind of got the Sunday 3 to 5 thing down, but it has not been possible at this point to find one place that we can do every Sunday. We have been able to work it out with Shoreline Unitarian Church, where we met last week, to meet more or less every other week of the month, but that still means there's 2 more Sundays that are kind of up in the air. So if this space works, what do you think? Is this a good space for us to meet? Okay. We will check into that. Yes, Lauren?
Well, just this space is available from now until the end of the year.
Okay. Actually, why don't you come on up, take the mic. That'd be great.
This space is available from, and it's been really hard to find a space. This space is available from now until the end of the year, every Sunday from 3 to 5, except July 2nd. And we can reserve it if we want to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sounds good.
How much does it cost?
It does cost $120 for 2 hours. So if we do it, we gotta know.
Yeah, if we you know, if we reserve for the entire year, maybe they might give us a break on price?
We could check, but I kind of doubt it. Yeah.
It's pretty cheap.
Yeah. Before we say anything else, need to know Lauren is really the one who got us into a shoreline Unitarian. And she's the one who got us this space on pretty short notice. So we owe her a big thank you for that. If there's folks who want to try to find another space that's available as consistently as this one for less than $120, I'm totally open for it. But otherwise, this I'm thinking is pretty good.
I just had a question.
Yeah, of course.
How big is the breakout? Because when we break out into groups, we're going to need a fair amount of space, aren't we?
Yeah, and we're getting ready to move into that part of the meeting. Just want to make sure, are there any other questions before we start going into breakout groups? Yes, I see 1, 2 hands.
Come to the mic. Come to the mic.
If you wouldn't mind coming up to the mic, that would make things easier. Yeah.
It's such a short question.
It's okay.
But I just wondered how much the Unitarian Church charges. Into the mic.
That's free. The Unitarian Church, no charge, which is super sweet.
But it's not available.
Talking to the mic.
Right. Just want you to turn around. Let's face it this way. Yeah, there you go. Much better. Face the people.
I just wanted to ask, so since these areas are not the most accessible by bus, is there a way we could arrange carpools?
Yes. See Nicole about that.
I have been using a website called groupcarpool.com, and I've been attempting to get that up and running, but there hasn't been a whole lot of takers on it, in part because I think the website itself is not that user-friendly, so I'm trying to think of something. If you can Google and find a better carpool site, that's excellent. But yeah, we're trying.
Thank you.